All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of AHJ Productions. We are very honored and excited today to welcome the Draft Guru from Instagram. This is going to be an exciting one. He's grown. We've been with him since he had less than 100 followers. Now the man is over 2,000 followers. So we're very excited to have him join us today. So, Guru, you have anything before we get started?
No, just want to thank you guys. You guys have always been great followers. Thanks for having me on. I'm happy to be here. And yeah.
All right, guys. So before we actually get into the content we have today's video, I think it's only right that we kind of start off with kind of the story. You guys are going to get to hear the story of how the Good Evening Football podcast and now the AHJ Productions YouTube channel got started. And actually, it's all thanks to Mr. Draft Guru. So a little over 2 years ago, I believe it was 2 years ago.
Around there, yeah.
I started following the Draft Guru on Instagram, and I got put in this group chat with a bunch of random fans that had also followed him. And it just so happens that one, or actually both, Aiden and Jonah were in that group chat. And so through the Draft Guru, we were all actually able to meet, and then we did a mock draft together, and then we started the podcast together. So honestly, everything that you guys listen to now is because of the Draft Guru, which is so cool that's the reason this all started. But Aiden, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. I mean, it was super cool. Like I remember, we did our 2019 mock draft, and you had like a representative from every team, and yeah, I met these two guys from there. Just kind of connected with them, and yeah, we really appreciate you doing that for us.
Dude, that's awesome. That's way cool. I actually never even knew that that's how this started. I listened to your guys' Good Evening podcast a while back when you guys were still doing that more. And I had no idea that that's how you guys got connected. And then you guys last week on Instagram, on a DM, you guys told me a little bit about it. And I was actually going to ask for the story, but that's awesome. At least one good thing came out of the page, I guess.
Yeah.
Bro, you have one of the best pages I've seen on Instagram as far as mock drafts go. You're dead on with your grading and your predictions. You had Kyle Duggar going in the early second round in your prediction, and that's exactly where he went. I don't think most people hadn't even heard of Kyle Duggar. And so it's just you're spot on with your predictions. You have a great page, and we're really excited to have you today.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, so now we're going to get into the actual agenda for today's video. And the first of these is going to be the odds for teams landing Trevor Lawerence. Where do we think Trevor Lawerence is going to end up? What position in the draft and what team? So I think it's only right. Mr. Guru, we're going to start with you.
Ooh, all righty. This might be a little bit hot take-ish here, but I think it's going to be the Jets. I just think the Jets look absolutely like garbage. I know Sam Darnold hasn't been playing the absolute worst, but I mean, I think he's in is this his third year and then he's going up on a contract, or, well, I guess they can do the fifth year option, but his fourth year next year. I just think if the season continues to go the way it is and they end up with that top spot, I just don't know that you can justify that Sam Darnold will show enough to justify passing on Trevor Lawerence.
Yeah, I totally agree. I actually have the Jets as my number one spot too. I'm a Jets fan, so I totally get it. Sam Darnold has made some unbelievable throws in these first 2 weeks. I don't know if y'all saw that touchdown pass to Braxton Berrios. That was one of the best throws I've ever seen, actually. But I just don't see, if we have that number one spot, I just don't see us passing on a guy like Trevor Lawerence because I think he's a better prospect than a guy like Andrew Luck. So, I mean, I just don't see us passing on him at all.
Jonah?
So this is unfortunate. I also had the Jets, but I had a second team as well. Talking about the Jets, I can't really say anything that these two didn't. I think it's going to be whoever has the first overall pick in the draft is taking Lawrence, no matter what team it is. I think that if you have the first overall pick and the generational talent is there, you have to take him. Unless you get a ridiculous offer, I think you have to do it. So I was thinking the Jets would be the team with the least amount of wins. But teams like the Panthers they do have a chance of getting that number one overall pick. And Teddy Bridgewater, if they do get the first overall pick, obviously hasn't played to what the Panthers would want him to play to. So that is another possible place.
Okay. So I talked to both of you beforehand. I told y'all I actually have 4 possible places, and I have to explain with this. This draft, to me, has shades of the 2016 draft in it. So I told both of y'all, which I'm going to explain it now, out of all the worst teams in the league, all the teams that are 0-2, I don't see any of them wanting a quarterback with that top spot. But what I can see happening is a team that is middle of the road or good trading up to that number 1 spot and taking Trevor Lawerence. I don't think the Jets are ready to move on from Sam Darnold yet. Washington football team has Dwayne Haskins. They're not going to get rid of Haskins after 3 years because 2 years. Haskins has not been awful. The Bengals have Joe Burrow. They're not giving up on Joe Burrow. And the Dolphins have Tua, who hasn't even played an NFL game yet. So those 4 teams, I don't see them taking a quarterback. I'm going to give y'all some names right here. First, I have the Cleveland Browns. If Baker cannot play up to the way that we thought he could his rookie year, I would not be surprised at all to see them get rid of Baker and move up and get Trevor Lawerence because Trevor Lawerence would fit perfectly in Cleveland. He's got all the talent in the world, great receivers, good tight end, unbelievable running back duo. That's another team that I would be on the lookout for. I also have the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins is a walking trash can. Kirk Cousins is not good. We're not going to pretend like he's good. 3 interceptions, less than a 10 QBR last week. He's not good at all. I think they need someone that's going to have the hot hand, can get this offense started, and I think Trevor Lawerence is the perfect fit for that team. So that's my take.
Okay. So I said I had the Jets earlier. I have the Jets. I also have the Panthers and the Washington football team because I'm going to tell you this. I do think Dwayne Haskins has played terrible. I don't really think Dwayne Haskins is quite that good. I think he was a product of that Ohio State offense, which is always good. So I don't know. I think if the football team has the number 1 pick, then they have to take him, and I think there's no way around it. I don't think they would go take like Penei Sewell or somebody like that if Trevor Lawerence is there. And then the Panthers, I think with Teddy Bridgewater, I think he's just a bridge guy. I don't think no pun intended, I don't really think he's like a guy that they're looking to keep in the future. I think they signed him to a short deal. They want to have him bridge at that position for a few years, and they'll replace him and cut him or trade him when they need to. I think that's what the Panthers quarterback situation is. Will Greer is trash. I don't think he's going to play. I think the Panthers would take him if they have the number 1 pick.
And
you go ahead, John.
I was just going to say regarding the football team, I actually posted a video breaking down their future and what they should do in the draft. And in that video, I actually said that Trevor Lawerence could easily go to Washington. Now, do I think Trevor Lawerence would benefit off of that? Not at all. But if they have number 1 pick, I think it's a done deal.
I'm going to throw out one more team name. What about the Pittsburgh Steelers? This is a team that is good, but Big Ben Roethlisberger is 37, and from what we've seen, he's looking 37. He's not playing. I would not be surprised to see them. They do have a first-round pick this year. I wouldn't be surprised to see them trade a few picks and move up to that number 1 spot.
I would be shocked. I think the Steelers are going to be a better team than all these other ones. I think the Steelers are actually going to be a pretty decent team, so I don't really think they're going to be in the spot to get them.
I think they're going to, like I said, all of these is saying that they would move up to go get him.
I just don't see how the number 1 overall pick would be able to trade with the Steelers, even if the Steelers give up their first this year, first next year, a second and another second.
Let's pretend this happens because the Dolphins are what, 1-2 now or 1-1? 1-2. What if the Dolphins end up 2-14 and get the number 1 pick? They're not taking Trevor Lawerence.
Yeah, but I don't think they would trade back to where the Steelers would be, which is probably the 15th pick range.
But like I said, in 2016, when the Rams and the Eagles moved up, the Rams and the Eagles were in the teens. So it wasn't like they were moving from like 5 to 1. They were moving from 14 or 15 up to 1.
You're right, but Trevor Lawerence is a generational talent. I think these teams know that when they're at the number 1 spot. They know the value that pick has compared to the Jared Goff and Carson Wentz value.
If the
a fair
Dolphins had the
point.
number 1 pick, they would use that leverage as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
I just look at it as like arguably the two worst teams right now are the first 2 quarterbacks taken in this past year's draft. So neither of them is going to move up to get Trevor Lawrence, or neither of them is going to take Trevor Lawrence. I just think this draft is going to be weird because I honestly don't know.
I think
right.
the Jets, Panthers, and the football team are the worst teams in the league.
Agreed. And the Lions are up there too.
Yeah.
I think it'd be more likely that the Lions maybe possibly, if they have another bad tanking team, move on from Matt Stafford and decide to start completely over it. Just like I see what you're talking about, but I think that the Steelers, like they said, are just too far down. There's going to be too many other suitors. Like, I mean, if we've talked about so many teams that are probably going to be in the top 10, and I think if they're throwing around another top 10 pick, I just don't know that the Steelers are going to be able to give up enough to compete with those type of offers.
Yeah, I think they would have to give up I think they would have to give up one of their star players in order to do that.
It's going to be interesting to see. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, tell your friends. Let's get this thing huge. Hunter from AHJ Productions out. We'll see you in the next video.
I ain't got a floss, I ain't got a flex, I ain't got to talk, shorty, I'ma say less. Way too blessed, I'll never stress. I ain't got to talk, shorty, I'ma say less.